It's that time of year again where it is too dark to film when I want to film. What's up everyone? My name is Shaelyn and on this channel everything's alright. Happy 2023 everyone. I almost said 2022. Sorry that I'm like a little bit blown out. I'm trying to work with this lighting that we have in here because as you saw in I think November's Breaking 10,000 Barriers episode, it was like way too dark in my footage. I think it was November. I don't really remember, but obviously it's winter, so the daylight is just not keeping up these days. It is officially season 2 of Breaking 10,000 Barriers. Can you guys believe it? I decided I'm gonna make a whole other playlist for 2023's Breaking 10,000 Barriers so that they don't get all messy in one playlist. And I'm gonna call this one season 2. So I'll rename the playlist for 2022 as season 1 and then we'll keep going from there. There is something that I wanted to be honest with you guys about before starting this video. I know that in January last year I made my introduction video for this series, kind of explaining everything I'm going to be doing. If I can recall correctly, I think I said that when I did the math, in order to reach 10,000 reps by the end of the year, I would have to do 30 reps of every exercise per day. I was open and honest with you guys throughout the year about my struggles and feeling a little bit overwhelmed and defeated and not doing as much of the exercises as I was hoping that I would have done, which is the 30 reps of each exercise per day. Honestly, that is a lot to expect, especially for me. I'm honestly surprised that I even thought that I could accomplish that and stick to that routine. I will say I was going strong for the first few months, I think, and then I started falling off. Things happen, obviously, but to be completely transparent with you guys, I never really got back into it the way I was in the beginning of the year. And toward the end of 2022, I was really only doing 2 exercise sessions a month. I was filming just to get like the footage for these videos. So I was doing one at the beginning of the month and one at the end so that I could compare progress. For season 2, I am doing things a lot more different. I'm going to set a realistic expectation for myself. And yes, I know it is going to take a lot longer than just a year to get the 10,000 reps. But that's okay because that's a lot of reps and I'm just not gonna accomplish it in as short of a time as I once thought. Last night I did do my exercises for the footage for this video, and when I was doing them I was thinking to myself and reflecting about this and what changes I can make this year to make a more effective routine for myself. And I decided that I wanted to do exercises every other day instead of every day. And then I started talking to my husband about it, and when I was hearing it coming out of my mouth, it just still didn't seem super realistic. So for now, I am going to be doing my exercises once a week, see how that goes. If I do fit in more exercises throughout the week, great. If not, then once a week is what I feel is realistic for me. So I'm hoping that I can stick to that. Let's jump into the first episode of season 2 of my series Breaking 10,000 Barriers. Another thing if you're new here is I break down my exercises into 4 category groups. So the first one is my wrist/hand, my arm, my ankle and foot, and my leg. First category, like I said, is my arm and wrist, my hand and wrist category. So let's jump right into the first exercise, which is flexing and extending my wrist. Now this is December. As you guys know, I do have to usually assist my affected arm through a lot of the exercises just to accomplish the movement. The next exercise is supination and pronation of my wrist. So in December, I had to pull it up to supinate, And then to pronate, I can let go and let gravity kind of take over while I drop my wrist downward. And in January, looks pretty identical, I'm not gonna lie. The next exercise is opening and closing my hand. So in December, at the beginning of the clip, you can see that I made a face because my middle finger kind of made a funny movement. Yeah. And then I continued pulling my wrist back to get the closing motion. That's kind of how I accomplish that movement for now. I can open it with a bent wrist and close it with a straight wrist. Okay, so in January, I want you guys to look closely at this first clip because, again, my middle finger does something very strange, and it's honestly just funny seeing my reaction, but it's really strange, too, to see these weird, spontaneous movements happen. So, roll the clip. Yeah, what was that? That's so weird. I was trying to give limited wrist movement to accomplish opening and closing my hand. It just wasn't really working out, so I ended up switching back to the usual bending and straightening my wrist like I usually do. Moving right along to the arm category. The first exercise is flexing and extending my bicep. December is looking good, looking zippy, speedy, and controlled. Better than it once was. Ooh, actually, in January, my fingers look a lot more open. Although I will say I took a nice hot bath right before I did my exercises for the January session, so they did look pretty loose in December too, though, actually. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. The next exercise is lifting my arm above my head. In December, it was quite bent, and I felt like I could have controlled it a lot more than I was. I was kind of like throwing it up there with my shoulder more so than controlling the movement. And then in January, I really wanted to focus on getting my elbow straight, especially when it reached the top. And I did that. And honestly, I will say it was a lot easier than it used to be. I remember I used to try to do that for every rep, and it was really hard. So I'm really happy to say that it has gotten significantly easier to straighten my arm when it's up this way. Last exercise in the arm category is reaching my arm behind me. In December, it actually looks nice and controlled, a little bouncy. And then in January, that one looks pretty much the same, if I'm being honest. So moving along to the foot category, foot and ankle category. First exercise is flexing and pointing my foot/ankle. December looks about how it usually was. Nothing too crazy or significant. I should wear darker socks more often because it's easier to see, but then in January, looks about the same. If anything, I feel like my foot might be a little bit more stiff. There might be a lack of movement, maybe. I don't know if I'm not seeing it correctly, but I should make a note to wear darker socks from now on because it's harder to see with the lighter sock, I feel. The next exercise is lifting and lowering my ankle. December, just below 90 degrees, I feel like. Ugh. And in January, looks about the same to me. The last exercise in the foot category is wiggling my toes, which if you guys have been watching, I do a funny version of this where I squeeze my toes downward with my hand and then I release it to mimic the motion of moving my toes. So in December, not bad, honestly. Looks pretty good. And in January, yeah, looks about the same. If anything, there's a little bit more ankle movement, but you guys know that that usually happens anyway, so. Moving on to the leg category, the last category. So the first exercise is kicking my butt with my heel. In December, Ooh, so close to kicking my butt. And in January, that one looks very similar actually. That one is looking, it's honestly, for being paralyzed, it's really hard to use your hamstring when you do have paralysis. So honestly, getting it up that high voluntarily is really good. So I'm honestly proud of myself for that. Keeping steady and keeping strong. The next exercise is doing the straight leg fire hydrants to the side in December. Looks great. And then in January, it looks about the same as well. It's kind of hard to compare it when it literally looks like mirror images just with different clothes on. But yeah, looks good still. The last exercise in the leg category is practicing balancing on my affected leg, which is very hard for me. I do have great balance on my right leg. I could stand on it for a really long time. I don't really know. I've never counted, but I can stand on my right leg for a very long time because I was a dancer growing up and I just have great balance. I don't know. So in December, I balanced on my left leg for 10.4 seconds. And then, which is one of my higher times actually. I think that was the highest that I've had so far on camera. And then in January, I balanced for 8.4 seconds. So I'm exactly 2 seconds shorter in January, which is fine. I've said this before, but sometimes I just have off balancing days. Sometimes I'm honestly a little bit more relaxed, which is not great for balancing because then I tend to wobble and lose my balance a lot more because I'm more relaxed, if that makes sense. But yeah, that was January's episode of season 2 of Breaking 10,000 Barriers. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for staying tuned and all of your support. I see all of you in the comments. I try to reply as much as I can. Just know that I do see you guys and I'm so happy that I have you rooting for me and cheering me on through my journey as a stroke survivor. And yeah, I know I've only been doing this for about 1.5 years now, but I really feel like I wouldn't be who I am today without you guys and all of your support. It really truly means the world to me and I can't thank you enough. Oh, I also wanted to say, I don't know if I'll reach it before this video goes up, but we are nearing our 500 subscriber goal really soon, which is honestly crazy to me. And if you guys remember, I said that when I reach my 500 subscriber goal, that I will put up a video of me making my delicious, scrumptious pasta recipe. And I wanted to make it with fresh pasta, but I don't have my pasta maker yet. I'm working on that. But I can always make another video making pasta. It's not a big deal. I make pasta all the time. So keep a lookout for that one and keep on pushing toward our 500 subscriber goal. I think right now, let me check out actually. I know earlier today we were at 570, I think, or 470. Oh my god. What are we at now? Yeah, 470. I don't know if you guys can see that. 470. Oh, it was blurry. That is, honestly, 470 alone is absolutely crazy. I remember when I hit 200 subscribers, I was like over the moon and just like mind blown. And now I'm almost at 500 and I'm like, what is happening? And yeah, if you guys know anybody who is a stroke survivor, send my channel to them. I'm sure they would love to be a part of this community and everything like that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Follow me on all my socials linked in the description down below, and I will see you next week for another new video. Okay, bye. Love you.